Hello, I'm Mathieu from LudoChrono, and today I'm going to give you an overview of Stellium. So Stellium is an area control game and a pattern making game for 2 to 4 players, ages 10 and up, and it plays for around 30 minutes. In this game, you are a celestial being and you try to make beautiful shapes and arrangements, because that's how you gain victory points in this game. So the game has a modular board, and you're going to be able to rotate the plates here because they are round, and you're going to use the marbles to your advantage because all of them have different powers and textures as well. So this is very important. You're going to win by making the patterns that you can see here in the gold cards. These objective cards are going to be scored. You have to take one per turn, and you can score them in your turns. So in a game term of Stellium, you're going to draw something from the bag, a marble from the bag, place it on the board, use its power. Then you're going to be able to score objectives from your hand of objective cards. Then you're going to draw one from the display and add it to your hand. So that's the basic gist of the game, but as you may notice, it's a bit more complicated than that. So when I take a marble, I have to reach for the right one without looking. I have to do it by touch, which is interesting because all of the marbles have different textures. So I'm going to pull one out and place it on the board and use its power. So the green one would allow you to swap to adjacent marbles, which allows you to create new combinations and do more stuff. The yellow one is a sun, and it allows you to rotate a galaxy, so a round plate. So for example, if I lay it here, I could decide to rotate this plate by a few notches, and you have to match the notches, otherwise the game, well, basically doesn't work. But you rotate it, and that's it. You've done the power of the sun. So now we have comets, which are blue. The blue comets just smash into other celestial bodies. So for example, I could decide to smash another comet like so, and that would push the first comet onto an adjacent space in the same direction. But for example, let's imagine that the board were like this, and I could use that comet to push more, and that would move everything in front of it. So I would make multiple collisions. And if some marbles go out of the board, which can happen, they go back inside the bag. And finally, we have the supernovas, and these ones are really interesting because they allow you to play with the black holes. So the black holes are everything which is not in a galaxy, everything that doesn't rotate. So you are going to find black holes at the center of the board, but also at the outsides of the board. When I place a supernova, I'm going to use the black hole to pull an adjacent marble. So for example, I could pull this one on this black hole. If I am not happy with the marble I just pulled from the bag, I can use special abilities which are there. I just flip the token and I use the power of the color of the token I've just flipped. So for example, I can use a green power instead of another one once per game. Same with the blue, once per game, etc. So then I can fulfill the objectives, then I'm going to draw one. So how do I fulfill and score an objective? So for example, this card is fulfilled. So for example, I could score it if I had it in hand. I just lay it down in front of me and I'm going to remove some marbles from the board. I'm going to remove all of the marbles that made my objective but one. So for example, if the other players might be interested in having greens, I'm going to leave the green that is on the black hole because it's more difficult to access. So I'm going to remove these and place them inside the bag. After completing an objective, you may complete other objectives that you might have in hand, and then you're going to draw an objective from the display and replace it. So for example, I could take this one into my hand, and with 3 players, you would have 7 objectives. So I would draw one, take it in my hand secretly, and then the other player would go. So we're going to take rounds of the game like this, and we're going to do so until a certain score is reached. So the score is just the points that the cards bear. And after that score is reached, everyone is going to play the same number of rounds, and then we count the final scores. A final score is the addition of all of the points of the cards that you've had, all of the powers, personal powers that you haven't used, and also the colors of the cards that you have. So as you may notice, the objective, the goal cards have colors, and these allow you to score a bit more points. So per color you have, you score 1 more point. For example, in this case, I have green, so 1, I have red, 2, and I have blue, so 3. I have 3 more points with this. So cards, color of the cards, and personal powers tokens. That's it for Stellium. You know that the person with the biggest score will win, and this is a game basically about controlling the board, making patterns with the board, and anticipating, because you're going to pick the card and then you try to make your objective. And this is very difficult, since the other players might have patterns that you don't like, and you have to think about what they would like to remove that from the board. So it's kind of difficult to match what you want, what they want, and what you don't want them to do. You know almost everything about that game, so bye bye and see you on LudoVox.